بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد باب الحق الجاري والوصية به. We continue our book Riyadus Saliheen by Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi. Inshallah, from tonight we're beginning the series after Maghrib. For the previous many months we were having this after Isha, but it was very delayed till Isha at 10 o'clock, and then it would become too delayed. So inshallah, this is only for 5 to 7 minutes, so inshallah it's not going to delay everyone's sunnah as well, but we're hoping that we can continue this after Maghrib. The hadith itself is, we begin the 39th chapter of the book, and the chapter is with regards to the rights of neighbors. And as we know that Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi usually begins a chapter with the ayat of a Quran, either one or two or few, and then he turns towards the ahadith. So Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi brings this particular chapter with this one ayat of the Quran, and he mentions, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَالْجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُبِ وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنبِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. This is ayat number 36 of Surah An-Nisa, chapter number 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this ayat of the Quran, and he said, وَاعْبُدُ اللَّهِ, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا, and do not join any partners onto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now after this, multiple things for us to do as the people of Iman. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, I'll talk about them in just a few moments shortly. To do good with parents, your kinsfolk, orphans, maskeen, meaning the poor, the neighbors who are near your relationship, the neighbors who are strangers, the companions by your sides, the wayfarers that you meet, and those that your right hand possesses. Now, in this particular, ayats of the Quran, there are multiple ahkamat or multiple rulings that are being given to us. The first thing is wa'bud Allah, ibadah. The word ibadah, ulama have mentioned, refers to a sense of showing as a person that you are subjected to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what true abdiyat means, is that we become subjected to the commands of Allah. That I don't have my own desires to make decisions, but I'm subjected to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that wa'bud Allah, and become subjected to the commands of Allah, listen to the commands of Allah. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and when it comes to parents, nothing less than ihsan is accepted. SubhanAllah, this is one thing to remember, brothers and sisters, that if someone says, I try to be good with my parents, that's not enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever He mentions relationship with parents, walidain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always mentions ihsan. He always mentions excellence. Anything less than excellence is not accepted. To the extent that in one ayat of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions major kabira, like large sins, shirk and taking lives of people, in that Allah mentions wabil walidaini ihsana, meaning one of the do's and many of the don'ts, meaning anything less than excellence is not accepted. So when it comes to relationship with parents, there has to be ihsan. وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, and when it comes to orphans and poor, to take care of them, as Rasulullah ﷺ once mentioned, that the one who takes care of a yatim, a person who takes care of an orphan, will be like this with me on the day of Qiyamah. And he gathered his two fingers, his shahada, his index finger and the middle finger together. He said, they will be like this with me on the day of Qiyamah, meaning the sense of closeness to the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَجَارِ الْجُنُبِ. There are two types of neighbors that this ayat of the Quran mentions, al-qurba wal-junub. Now, ulama have given multiple interpretation, but I'm going to go through them quickly. Number one was wal-jari dhil qurba. Ulama have mentioned that this refers to neighbors that are also relatives as well, meaning your neighbors, but they're also blood relationship and related to you. And wajari al-junub means any individual who is your neighbor itself, without being a blood relationship as well. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu mentions that al-jari dhul qurba refers to this is Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. And the other ulama mentioned that jari dhul qurba refers to the closest homes and then the further homes as well. Then other ulama have mentioned that al-jari dhul qurba refers to Muslim neighbors, while jari al-junubi refers to people who are non-Muslim neighbors as well. Meaning all of them have haqq, every single one, irrespective of their religion and their faith. If they are your neighbors, then there is haqq, there is responsibility that we need to fulfill. And inshallah, when we get to the deeper portion of the book, we'll talk about this. But Rasulullah ﷺ said on the day of Qiyamah, the first two people, أَوَّلُ خَصْمَانٍ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, first two individuals who will face one-to-one in front of each other to get each other's haqq will not be brothers, not sisters, not relatives, will be two neighbors, Rasulullah says. They will stand head to head on the day of Qiyamah to ask for each other's haqq. So again, inshallah, we begin this chapter. This is the 39th chapter of the book, and the chapter is with regards to the rights of neighbors. This is the ayat of the Quran from Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 36, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not associate partners unto Him, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us multiple advices. Amongst them is to do excellence when it comes to relationship with our parents, when it comes to our relatives, when it comes to orphans, when it comes to poor, those neighbors that are our relatives, those neighbors that are not our relatives, those neighbors that are Muslim, those neighbors that are not Muslim, those that are your companions, your travelers, your wayfarers, and anyone that Allah has given you authority upon, make sure that you take care of them. As huququl ibad is one of the greatest things to take care of, to be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah give us tawfiq to practice, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhanallah.